I want to let you guys understand that when it was on American national security grounds, we didn't ban TikTok. But when it came to Israel national security grounds, we did ban TikTok. Very important for you guys to understand this. And I haven't seen enough people talk about this. Chinese spying on Americans? No problem. The youth flaming Israel? Big problem. Banned. Not only did they take this step on TikTok, but other platforms like Meta, for example, we have someone that worked directly with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and worked for the Israeli government running censorship for the biggest social media platform in the world. Let's first start with this, right? I go, censorship is, I'm vindicated yet again. If I make videos criticizing Trump, no one cares. But if I make videos criticizing Israel, it will be censored, right? And this came after TikTok appointed a former IDF soldier to censor critical content of J's, Israel, and Zionism in general. U.S. government under guide of ADL got TikTok to hire ex-IDF instructor Erica Mendel to combat anti-Semitism on TikTok. Right? And this isn't the first time, guys, that they used TikTok, right, to kind of push an agenda out there to curb speech. As many of you know, when Trump took office in January, there was a push to get TikTok banned. A bunch of different Zionist organizations all across the United States lobbied to get TikTok banned. Why? Because TikTok at the time was very pro-Palestine. We're talking something like 70% pro-Palestine versus 30% pro-Israel. And Jonathan Greenblatt, the head of the ADL, Anti-Defamation League, and other Zionist lobby groups started to realize that the young people were starting to get red-pilled on them boys, right? And obviously, the boomer generation, the boomer class, loves Israel. But the young people are starting to become more and more based on this topic, and TikTok caters more to young people. So as people were getting more and more based on this topic, the ADL, rightfully so, realized this is a fucking problem. Because if we don't curb this now, this is going to be a problem that will come back to bite us in the ass. Because these young people are going to be the next legislators. They're going to be the next politicians. They're going to be the next government heads. So if we don't fix this now, in 1 to 2 generations, we can kiss the state of Israel goodbye, because American support is not going to be behind it. The boomer class is dying off and going to be replaced soon. So one thing I will give Jonathan Greenblatt credit for is that he was intelligent enough to kind of see the writing on the wall. And he was the first person from the Zionist lobby to say, look, we have an anti-Semitism problem in the United States, but it's not a demographic problem. It's an age problem, which he was 100% right. Young people are far more based on Israel than old people are, right? Boomers that we all know are fucking retards. But the young people are waking up. So in an effort to combat this, TikTok was banned for about 24 hours, okay? And when TikTok was banned for 24 hours, basically what they did was they made a bunch of updates to the app. And what they did with updating the app was they made the watermelon emoji banned, they made Free Palestine banned, they banned a bunch of phrases and slogans that were symbolic to freeing Palestine, right? The watermelon is a big one because of the colors. It symbolizes the flag. So what ended up happening was TikTok gets taken down for 24 hours and it comes back under the contingency that it would be more pro-censorship towards pro-Palestine stances. And hiring this girl here, okay, obviously is a part of that mission. And just to really bring things into context, I really want you guys to understand this. Trump talked about banning TikTok back in 2020. In August of 2020, guys, Trump was talking about banning TikTok, but they didn't do it. And the reason why Trump talked about banning TikTok back in 2020 is because they said that it was a Chinese spy app. So they used national security grounds to justify banning TikTok. But guess what happened? They never actually got around to banning it. Okay? I want to make that very clear so you guys understand that there's a precedent here, right? They never actually banned TikTok when Trump proposed it back in August of 2020. However, when he returned to office in January of this year, they actually did ban TikTok. But why was Trump more sensitive to TikTok now than back then? I'll tell you why. TikTok was instrumental in getting him reelected. The streams that he did with Aiden Ross and these other podcasters went viral. So TikTok was a critical component to his campaign, because while Kamala Harris relied upon A-list celebrities and traditional celebrities for promotion, Trump relied upon social media influencers and social media platforms. So a lot of young people came out to vote for Trump based off TikTok and social media. So obviously he had a sensitive place for it in his heart. Pause. Because he did like TikTok because it helped him win. But I want to let you guys understand that when it was on American national security grounds, we didn't ban TikTok. But when it came to Israel national security grounds, we did ban TikTok. Very important for you guys to understand this. And I haven't seen enough people talk about this. Chinese spying on Americans? No problem. The youth flaming Israel? Big problem.
Nope.
Banned. Goes down for 24 hours, comes back up with all these fucking regulations. Then, to add insult to injury, they hire this fucking chick here, former IDF soldier, to regulate it. But it gets better. Because not only did they take this step on TikTok, but other platforms, like Meta, for example, have a woman named Jordana Cutler. Now, who the fuck is Jordana Cutler? I'll show you guys. Here she is. She's been with Facebook since 2016, aka Meta. Okay? Public Policy Director, Israel and Jewish Diaspora, Facebook. That's kind of weird. And then it gets better. Prior to this, she served as Chief of Staff in the Embassy of Israel in Washington, D.C. from 2013 to 2016. From 2009-2013, Jordana served in the Israeli Prime Minister's office as Prime Minister Netanyahu's advisor for diaspora affairs and as the deputy to the senior advisor to the Prime Minister. Jordana also worked in the strategy department of the Likud Party's 2009 campaign. For those of you that are wondering, the Likud is the right-wing party in Israel's government. And from 2005 to 2007, Jordana served as a senior officer for public affairs at the Embassy of Israel in Washington, D.C. So let me get this straight. We have a former Israeli government official overseeing Meta, which arguably is the biggest social media platform in the world. Because, guys, keep in mind, Meta is not just Facebook, it's also Instagram. And Instagram is the most popular app, okay? I think it still edges out TikTok. So we have someone that worked directly with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and worked for the Israeli government running censorship for the biggest social media platform in the world. I don't think I need to explain to you guys why this is a fucking problem. So Facebook and TikTok, we can now confirm, are run by pro-Zionist individuals. Oh, but it gets better, okay? Ask yourself, who ran or who runs Instagram itself? So we see this woman is involved in Facebook with, and Meta in general. So this guy runs Instagram. But we can keep going. And this is who ran YouTube for the past decade plus. She passed away recently. Rest in peace to her. I never wish death upon any of my enemies. Hardcore Zionist. Are you guys starting to see the trend here? Do you guys see what I see? So I think it's very important that you guys understand, right, that the people that moderate and run these social media platforms have a vested interest in protecting Israel, which means that they're going to censor the speech of American citizens for very valid criticisms of the state of Israel. I mean, hell, we have people that literally worked for the Israeli government. These two right here. And there's many more. So we covered social media. Next, let's cover this. The Attorney General, the #1 law enforcement officer in the land, is concerned with a girl shoving a dude and saying free Palestine on a college campus. Holy fuck, the U.S. is occupied. So as you guys can see here, Pam Bondi, this was a couple of days ago, she goes, thank you, Preston McCullough, whatever the fuck this dude's name is, president of Florida State University, for your leadership and prompt action Anti-Semitism will not be tolerated in Florida or anywhere else. And my U.S. attorney, Jack Keegan, are investigating this. So this girl, right, basically got kicked out of school for getting into an altercation with a kid that was wearing an IDF shirt. So this dude right here, fat ass Randy Fine, okay, this guy, Congressman Randy Fine, sees the video, fucking rages, and he calls the president of Florida State to get this girl banned. Okay? And then you can see here, this is why I introduced a bill to designate CAIR as a foreign terrorist organization. Thanks for proving my point. And this is what he does. This is a U.S. congressman that posts all day going after people that are critical of Israel, trying to get them fired, trying to get their lives ruined, etc. Okay? This dude, this fat bastard. Let me find you guys his post he made on this girl. So he goes, proud of himself. This is how you deal with anti-Semitism. Immediately and with swift discipline. Other universities take note. Right? So they basically got this girl kicked out of school. It only took one call. Bro made the call. She has been suspended until an expulsion hearing and has been trespassed from campus. In Florida, we don't mess around with Muslim terrorism. Now it's my job to make the rest of the country do the same. Mind you, this is what this guy calls Muslim terrorism, by the way, chat. And this is a fucking congressman, by the way. FYI, this is an elected official congressman. All right? This is what he's raging about.
Fuck Israel, free Palestine, put it on fucking Barstool FSU. I really don't give a fuck. You're an ignorant fucking son of a bitch. Fuck Israel.
So she shoved this guy wearing an IDF shirt.
Free Palestine, put it on fucking Barstool FSU. I really don't give a fuck. You're an ignorant fucking son of a bitch.
Now, it's important to note that he's recording her, and we don't know what transpired prior. All we know is that she angrily looks at the camera, flips it off, and she says, free Palestine, fuck you. So that leads me to believe, and anyone else with common sense, that clearly there was an interaction prior, right? And we're just seeing the end of it. He turned the camera on at the end of the interaction, but we don't know if he provoked her. We don't know if there was an argument beforehand. We don't know really what the fuck happened. But with this limited clip, what does Randy Fine do? He sees this. Florida State University, female student attacks a J peer at the gym wearing an IDF shirt, screaming, fuck Israel, free Palestine, blah, 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 right? And he said, under the Florida law that I authored and passed in 2019, this Muslim terrorist must be immediately expelled. As a member of the U.S. House Education and Workforce Committee, I am personally calling Florida State to ensure it's done. So not only does he make a post about this, he goes and calls Florida State directly and gets this girl kicked out and calls her a Muslim terrorist. For those of you that are wondering, this is a white girl. I think she's German. I forget what her real name is. And just so you guys know, Randy Fine, let me show you something else from this guy. So let me show you what kind of individual we're dealing with here. Okay? So the day after October 7th, here he is. Israel War Room. Hamas seems to have kidnapped mostly women. It is already confirmed that Hamas fighters are using grape as a weapon of war. He said none. May the streets of Gaza run red with their blood, right? And obviously we found out that the mass grapes were a lie. This was all atrocity propaganda. Does Randy Fine support nuking Gaza? We asked him, right? And this dude makes genocidal tweets about Palestinians all the fucking time. And it's kind of interesting to me. Look, he used the term terrorist rag, whatever. He uses all kinds of, pejorative racial comments to demonize Muslims in Gaza. Fine, no problem. But if you're going to go ahead and behave like that, tell your Muslim terrorists to release hostages and surrender. Until then, starve away, right? You're talking to Rashida Tlaib here. Look, you guys know me. I'm free speech. I don't give a fuck. But I find it interesting how, could you imagine if Rashida Tlaib responded and told him, tell your fellow to stop fucking, charging high interest and clipping coins and controlling the media? Could you imagine if she responded with a comment like this to him? They would call for her resignation, chat.